A Plaguelands Media production.
Hey everyone, Hugh from Plaguelands Media here, bringing you another sip of whiskey and another comic book. I'm not going to call it a review because I basically just go through the story, but we are looking at book 1 of Blade Runner 2019. This is Los Angeles, collecting books 1 to 4 of the graphic novel collection. Now, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail at the very beginning of this video because I do that at the end. What I think of Blade Runner, what I think of IP, all that kind of thing. But for those of you that don't want this spoiled, I'm just going to say fantastic, loved it. Those of you that do want it spoiled, stick around for the next episode of... So this is book 1 of the Blade Runner 2019 graphic novel collection, which comes in this fantastic kind of slipcover. We have book 2, Offworld, book 3, Home Again, but this is book 1, Los Angeles. This is collecting issues 1 to 4 of the 2019 Blade Runner 2019 miniseries. So we have some backstory. Early in the 21st century, the Tyrell Corporation advanced robot evolution to the Nexus phase, creating artificial beings virtually identical to humans known as replicants. Superior in strength and agility, the replicants functioned primarily as off-world slave labor or in hazardous high collateral combat situations. After replicants were declared illegal on Earth, special police operatives called Blade Runners had orders to kill or retire any trespassers upon detection. Detective Ana Asina of the Los Angeles Police Department was one of the first to qualify for the assignment. Her colleagues call her Ash. She was the best of them. Okay. So the story starts with Ash hunting down a replicant. She finds him. She's pretty much taken him out by this point. We find out that she has a bit of a side hustle here where she sells replicant parts for extra cash. She tells him to cut his eyes out, wondering whether or not he has it programmed in him, which he does, but he then crushes the eyes so that she cannot sell them. Very gruesome stuff. As she's heading back to put in her report, she gets a call, basically another job, saying that it's a missing persons case and they want her to do it personally. Some corporate guy called Selwyn, his wife and daughter are missing. So she heads over to Selwyn's estate and she meets with him. His daughter's name is Cleo. His wife is Isabel. They went to a birthday party for the daughter of the head of the Tyrell Corporation and haven't been seen since. And he wants her to locate them. So she goes off looking for clues, looking for evidence, ends up finding the wrecked car with the dead chauffeur in it. Calls it in, but as she's calling it in, you can see she's in quite a bit of pain here. We don't exactly know why. At this point, we see Isabel and Cleo trying to get away from someone, trying to find a contact. Ash gets back to her house where we discover she is wearing a spinal brace, and we find out that she is in fact a paraplegic and her spinal brace was running out of battery power. Isabel and Cleo are still looking for their contact when they're confronted by some thugs, and Isabel ends up completely wiping the floor with them. And their contact comes and meets them. We get a little bit of backstory of Ash. As a little girl, she was diagnosed as a paraplegic. Her spine doesn't work properly. Her mother ends up leaving her with her grandmother and going off-world in order to send money back so that Ash can have a good life. Ash comes to this surgery where she meets this man who recognizes Isabel and says, yes, she was here, but I don't know where she's gone. At this point, we go to the underground tunnels where Isabel is kind of introduced to all of the people that if you're rich, you go off-world, middle class kind of live atop, but the poor, the masses live underground, where they meet more of these kind of doctor types, which is very kind of interesting. At this point, Ash tracks down another contact where she meets this elderly gentleman that she determines is in fact a replicant who has had his face shifted to look like he's older to avoid detection. So we now learn from this that there are people who kind of alter the faces of replicants so that they can fit in with society and live out their lives. Those of you that are not familiar with the Blade Runner mythos, a replicant has a set amount of years to live before it basically self-terminates or shuts down. And this guy just wanted to be left alone, live out his final months. So he has his face altered. They get into a fight, and of course, Ash takes him out. Before he dies, however, he decides to jump out of the window. Ash is in contact with Selwyn, trying to work out what is going on because the elderly replicant hinted that Selwyn wants his own daughter dead. So that is kind of a new angle to this mystery that Ash is trying to solve. Back in the camp, Isabel and Cleo kind of go on the run. Ash, while looking for answers, is attacked, and her car or ship or whatever it is shot down. And in the process, she gets very badly wounded. She manages to crash into a factory to minimize the casualties. When she's in hospital, her boss comes to see her and says they all know now that you are a paraplegic, that you've been using a spinal enhancement, you're off the case, and you're pretty much off the force. Just let it go. But, of course, she can't let it go. She ends up going to the Tyrell Corporation, where she meets with the head of the Tyrell Corporation, who tells her that Selwyn, his wife, is actually dead, and Isabel is a replicant that Selwyn asked to be created. In exchange, he's going to give his daughter Cleo to the Tyrell Corporation because Cleo has a rare genetic mutation that will allow the Tyrell Corporation replicants to live longer. So now the Tyrell Corporation want to hire her to find Isabel and Cleo. At this point, they're going across the border. Isabel and Cleo are being smuggled across the border. Ash is piecing everything together. And we get a little bit of a flashback as to Ash's original partner and why she works alone. We find Isabel and Cleo going to an island that is full of replicants. And they are going to protect both of them. Selwyn, at this point, has tracked down one of the initial doctors and tortures him for information on where Isabel has taken Cleo. Ash tracks Isabel and Cleo to the island, realizes exactly what is going on. This is the turning point for Ash, in as much as she no longer feels this kind of cold-bloodedness towards replicants. And she understands now exactly why Isabel is trying to protect Cleo, because Selwyn wants to just give her to the Tyrell Corporation in order for them to experiment on her and remove her genetic material. At this point, Selwyn has actually found them thanks to torturing the doctor, and Selwyn soldiers come out and start basically just slaughtering and killing everybody. Isabel begs Ash to take Cleo to safety, which she does, and Isabel stays on the island while Cleo and Ash escape back into the city. Ash is now in charge of protecting Cleo, and there is only one place that Cleo knows, because Isabel said is safe, and that is Off-World. And that is basically the end of Book 1 of the Blade Runner 2019 series. What did I think of this? Absolutely loved it. There are people out there that have fond memories of the original Blade Runner film. There are people out there that absolutely love Blade Runner 2049, or they don't like it, whatever. I am a huge fan of the original film. I love the novels that came out afterwards, which you pretty much can't get anymore, and they are made obsolete, but they are really, really good books. I am an absolute huge fan of Philip K. Dick's original Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Anything that adds more layers and more texture to an IP, I am all for. Now, I know this is a little bit controversial. I know a lot of people shit and piss on, any new Alien stuff that comes out or any new Predator stuff that comes out. Whatever. I get it. You're entitled to your opinion. That's perfectly fine. Personally, even if it's bad, it's adding to the lore and it's adding to the mythology. I might not like it. I might not agree with it. But the fact that someone sat down and they're thinking of new stories in this existing universe, which, as a fucking nerd, I absolutely adore. So this, really, really enjoyed it. The art was great. The story was interesting. Cannot wait to continue with Volume 2 and Volume 3. But there you have it. That is Blade Runner 2019, Los Angeles, Book 1 in the graphic novel series. Not much more I can say about this. So if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, hit the notification button so that you don't miss any of our Plaguelands Media videos. But until then, stay safe, have a fantastic rest of your day, have a drink, which I'm going to do right now. Read a fucking book, people. Or, you know what? Watch a fucking movie, people. Go back and watch the original Blade Runner. The Rutger Hauer's monologue at the end of that movie stands the test of time. If you haven't seen the original Blade Runner, watch it. If you haven't read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, read it. But just enjoy. Just enjoy. Okay, gonna leave it there. Have a good one. See you in the next video.